Forgotten History of the Americas Before Columbus, 1491, Part 1. The year 1492 is etched into threads of history as the moment when Christopher Columbus set sail from Spain on a voyage that would forever change the direction of human history. This was the journey that led to the discovery of the Americas, and from that day on, the history of these western lands became a song known to everyone. However, what about the story of the Americas before Columbus arrived? Before the light shone and the old world met the new world. The story of the Americas before Columbus is a tale often left untold. A rich tapestry of civilizations, cultures, and people that lived and thrived long before the arrival of the European explorers. But to understand the Americas before Columbus, we must first deal with the question of when and how this continent was first inhabited. The origin story. There are a lot of versions from different cultures explaining how America came to be. But the most prevailing theory, according to Oxford University, suggests that the first human settlers arrived in the Americas around 30,000 years ago, during the Ice Age. It is believed that they migrated from Asia across a land bridge that once connected Siberia and Alaska, known as Beringia. Over time, these early pioneers spread southward, populating the entirety of the Americas. The diversity of these ancient people is staggering. It includes multitudes of languages, cultural, and technological traditions. We know this because of the numerous archaeological studies that shed some light on the way of life of some of the early American societies. Archaeologists believe there were multiple waves of migration in diverse cultures across the continent, each leaving its own unique imprint. One of the untold stories of the Americas before Columbus is the story of the masters of the jungle, the Mayans. Inside the tropical rainforests of Central America, there emerged one of the most advanced societies in the pre-Columbian Americas. In the 6th and 9th centuries AD, the Mayan civilization was at its peak, with astonishing accomplishments that one cannot imagine for an ancient people. Their accomplishments include complex city-states, hieroglyphic writing, and an accurate calendar system. Even today, some monuments, like the city of Tikal, still stand as a testament to the Mayan architectural prowess. Notable among the Mayans' achievements is the development of the hieroglyphic writing system, which we have succeeded in translating, which is a glimpse into their history and culture. They also cultivated crops such as maize and beans, using advanced agricultural techniques, some of which we still practice today. Perhaps the most important achievements of these indigenous people are their skills in mathematics and astronomy, which show in the creation of accurate calendars that still amaze today's scholars. The history of the Mayan indigenous people is one that shows resilience and the will to survive and thrive in a harsh and inhospitable environment. The ancestral Pueblones. We cannot talk about the story of the pre-Columbians without mentioning that of the ancestral Pueblones, the masters of the desert. The ancestral Pueblones are also known as the Anasazi tribe, and they thrive deep in the arid landscapes of the southwestern United States. These people built interesting villages and cliff dwellings, such as those found at Mesa Verde, Chaco Canyon, and Canyon de Chalé. Even today, archaeologists and visitors continue to marvel at the skillfulness of the Puebloan people. Their exceptionally adaptive nature allowed them to harness water sources and cultivate beans and other crops. They even practiced pottery, and their works are notable for their intricate designs and vibrant colors. Not only were the Pueblones creative, they were also astronomers who constructed observatories to track celestial events and added them to their calendars and religious ceremonies. According to archaeologists, we know how these pre-Columbians lived their lives, but what remains unsure is their sudden migration from the region and what happened to them afterwards. Despite the decline of the ancestral Puebloan civilization, their cultural legacy lives on through modern-day Pueblo people, including the Hopi, Zuni, and Taos tribes. The Cahokia Mountains. In the heart of the present day, Illinois was once a complex civilization known as the Mississippian culture, with Cahokia at its urban epicenter. Cahokia was home to the largest pre-Columbian earthen mound complex in North America, known as the Monk's Mound. It rose to a height of 100 feet and covered over 14 acres. It is mind-blowing to imagine how possible it was to create such a complex urban plan at such a time. Yet the scale of Cahokia's urban planning was unrivaled north of Mexico at the time and had an estimated population that went past 20,000 people. Not only were the Cahokia people an advanced set of people, but they were also traders who traded far and wide, as far as the Gulf Coast and the Great Lakes. The Cahokian society showed social division by status, and a complex religious and political hierarchy. Their elites were buried with rich grave goods, showing the presence of a ruling elite, and the city's layout suggests a very interesting understanding of astronomy. The Cahokia art served both ceremonial and decorative purposes, and their culture is seen in their impressive artistry, finely crafted pottery, and shell carvings. The story of the Americas is one of beauty, society, and the pursuit of knowledge, and we know all these from the dugout story of the Cahokia people. While the city of Cahokia is now abandoned, the legacy of the Cahokia people lives on in the cultures of the indigenous people, such as the Illinois and other tribes. These memories are still recognized in Native American history today. The Aztecs. Another group of people with an interesting story is the Aztec people. The story of the Aztecs has seen lots of adaptations in motion pictures, especially. This is not surprising because this pre-Columbian tribe remains one of the most ancient civilizations in America. Far to the south, in the Valley of Mexico, the Aztec Empire rose to prominence in the 14th and 15th centuries AD. Renowned for their formidable capital city, Tenochtitlan, which was built on an island in the middle of Lake Texcoco, the Aztec civilization stood tall and majestic. This magnificent city included great temples, causeways, complex canal systems, and over 200,000 people. And all these existed before Columbus ever set foot in the Americas, evidence of culture, creativity, and intelligence. The Aztecs were also known for their military prowess, which they enjoyed flexing by expanding and subjugating neighboring cities through warfare and tribute. They also have a sophisticated agricultural system, including the use of chinamapas and artificial islands for farming to sustain their large population. These were people who built an extensive empire through creativity and conquest. Their era remains a marvel of engineering and architecture. No wonder Hollywood can't seem to get enough of them. Every day, archaeologists dig up more and more artifacts that may help us understand the story of these great people, the Amazon tribes. Contrary to popular belief, the Amazon rainforest was not an untouched wilderness before Columbus's arrival. It was home to a number of indigenous cultures that had adapted to this lush and challenging environment. The story of the Amazonians before Columbus is one that is almost forgotten. It is a story of sustainable land management, complex societies, and the coexistence of humans with nature. It challenges the idea that the Americas were an untouched wilderness before European arrival. The pre-Columbian inhabitants of the Amazon forest include the Tupi and the Kayapo tribes, among other tribes, who invented the use of terra preta for farming. Terra preta is a man-made soil made by adding organic matter and charcoal to the soil, sort of like the organic compost manure we use today. Isn't it amazing? This innovation helped them sustain agriculture in nutrient-poor rainforest soil for centuries. Recent archaeological discoveries have revealed extensive settlements and earthworks in the Amazon basin, proof that this region, believed to be sparsely populated before European contact, once housed and sheltered a lot of Amazonian tribes. Even though we cannot compare the indigenous inhabitants of the Amazon to other tribes like the Mayans and Aztecs, the region had its own complex societies. It was a hub of biodiversity, and the diversity grew with the help of the indigenous people who practiced agroforestry. They cultivated maize, cassava, and cacao while maintaining the integrity of the rainforest. And now, we owe almost 50% of our oxygen to these Amazonians, who found a sustainable relationship between humans and nature. From the Mayans' astronomical knowledge, the Amazonians' sustainable land management, the Aztecs' architectural capacity, and the Cahokia's monumental city of mounds, you can see these pre-Columbian societies were all marked by their ingenuity, innovation, and adaptation to their environments.